What's up, guys? Fearless here. Gonna talk to you today about some of the fighters who, arguably, in my opinion, are the greatest of all time. Starting with this Russian legend, the last emperor, Fyodor Emelianenko. Man, this guy was truly a legend back in the Pride days. He was undefeated for 8 years from 2001 to 2009. Coming out with some crazy submissions from every angle, never seen before back in those days. Sambo champion, gold medalist, armbarring, Kimuring, finishing every single one of his fights against legends like Andrei Arlovsky, Mark Coleman, Mark Hunt, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, Krokop, and truly a freaking legend, this guy, the last emperor. Moving on to Rush, George St. Pierre. Wow, this freaking guy. Legendary ground and pound like none other in the welterweight division. This guy went through two evolutions. After his first loss against Matt Hughes in 2004, armbarred, he came out with some better stand-up to ground and pound transitions. Brought in that karate style a lot more effectively, mixed it up well. You never knew what he was going to come up with. However, in 2007, after he lost to Matt Sarah, it was very controversial. Some people were like, okay, he wasn't focused. It was a fluke. He was focused on the after party. George St. Pierre can obviously beat Matt Sarah, whatever. Some people say it wasn't a fluke. Some people say it was. Either way, that was his second evolution. George St. Pierre, after that Matt Sarah fight, came back refocused, re-energized for his next maybe like 4 or 5 fights against Josh Koscheck, Matt Hughes, TKing Matt Sarah again to regain the welterweight championship, and finally against BJ, the Prodigy Penn. Wow, that fight was incredible. Freaking 4 rounds of constant ground and pound against BJ Penn. That was a fight. It was difficult to watch after the third. BJ was just getting smashed. And before he walked into the octagon, man, George St. Pierre, you could see it on his face. He had that rage. He just wanted to go in there and kill. It's the angry George St. Pierre. It's the rush. He had that adrenaline, that drive. After that BJ Penn fight, though, decisions all day. Decisions until his final fight against Johnny Hendricks in 2013. Split decision. In my opinion, Johnny Hendricks won that one, but you know what they say about uncrowning a reigning champion. You cannot just beat him by a slight margin. You have to defeat him by a clear margin. You have to really make it clear to everyone, the judges and the audience alike, that you have beaten this guy for you to uncrown him. Moving on to the Spider, Anderson Silva. Wow, pound for pound, number one for the longest time. This guy came up with some unconventional techniques like none other to this day. Even to this day, some of his techniques have not been able to effectively be utilized in the UFC, Bellator, and all other organizations alike. I mean, back in 2006 when he came with that reverse elbow knockout, god damn, no one had seen anything like this to this day. And who reversed elbow knockout somebody? Nobody. Nobody can do that. It was Anderson Silva and Anderson Silva alone. After that, he went on to win the middleweight title, and man, he showed some of the most incredible performances in the octagon till this day, coming out with freaking flying knee knockouts, TKOs, KOs, freaking front kicks to the face, Vitor Belfort, TKOing Stephan Bonnar. I mean, these are not some easy guys. He was fighting legends, Forrest Griffin, Chael Sonnen, Dan Henderson. Defended his title till 2012, and unfortunately in 2013 lost via that infamous KO to Chris Weidman. After that fight, he was just not the same. He did not have that finishing capability that he had back in his prime, where he came out with the flying knee, elbows, head movement, speed like none other, and he could finish his opponent from the most unpredictable of angles. He cannot pull the trigger any longer, and that is apparent in his fights against Nick Diaz and Michael Bisping. A legend nonetheless, Anderson the Spider Silva. Moving on to today's pound for pound number one and reigning light heavyweight champion, if you can call him that. Technically, he is the interim light heavyweight champion. However, he is undefeated and stands at a record of, I believe it's 23 and 0, 22 and 1. His one loss coming via disqualification, that famous 12-6 elbow against Matt Hamill. He was winning that fight nonetheless. Jon Jones is the first, in my opinion, super athlete who also has that elite mixed martial arts brain, that capability of being unpredictable and Anderson Silva-like, coming out with crazy movements that almost nobody in the UFC and mixed martial arts as a whole can reproduce effectively. The spinning elbows, the oblique kicks, the side kicks, the spinning kicks. You just do not see it from too many athletes, even nowadays. Although it is on the rise, such techniques are being more effectively utilized. Jon Jones is at the forefront of them, training head coach Mike Winkeljohn and Greg Jackson, arguably the best in the business. These guys have taken Jon Jones to a new level never seen before in mixed martial arts. He is the king of the light heavyweight division. He has defeated some legends like the likes of Vitor Belfort, Lyoto Machida, Mauricio Shogun. He won the UFC light heavyweight belts, TKO'd them like it was nothing. Mauricio Shogun, a legend. He went on to defeat just the best of the best. Gustafsson, Glover Teixeira, Daniel Cormier, Olympic level wrestler, and recently another super athlete, however, someone who, in my opinion, does not have that elite level mixed martial arts brain like Jon Jones, Ovince St. Preux. A lot of people said that was a boring fight, however, in my opinion, it was exactly what Jon Jones needed to do against a heavy hitter like Ovince St. Preux, who can knock you out from crazy angles. He played it safe, kept the distance, came out with the oblique kicks, broke Ovince St. Preux's arm, I believe, in the 4th round. Ovince St. Preux will be recovering for weeks, if not months, after the extensive oblique kicks that Jon Jones hit. Man, I don't think he hit anyone, maybe besides Quentin Jackson, maybe Vitor Belfort, with that many oblique kicks, man. He was just raining down on him for 5 rounds with oblique kicks after kicks. Ovince St. Preux's knee is undoubtedly in extensive, excruciating pain at the moment, if you ask me. On top of that, his arm is broken by one of Jon Jones's roundhouse kick. Moving on to the man who, in my opinion, and the opinion of many other long-time fight fans, is the greatest pound-for-pound fighter of all time, the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Now, do not be fooled by this man's size and stature. He is a force to be reckoned with in the flyweight division. Standing at 5'3", 125 pounds, this man has the speed, the skill, the agility, the precision like none other in the UFC. He is consistently improving, and he showed that in his performances. His last loss was in 2011 against Dominic Cruz, where he fought an opponent in the weight class above him who has a significant size advantage. Dominic Cruz, standing at 5'8", was able to wrestle him down. But when it comes to the stand-up, the combinations, and the speed, Demetrius Johnson all day, even against someone as technically proficient as Dominic Cruz, he was shutting him down on the feet. His combinations were just relentless. Once again, in his last fight against Henry Cejudo a few days ago, you saw him take an Olympic level wrestler to the clinch and just nail him with the knees from the craziest of angles, with precision, right to the body, to the liver, to the ribs, shutting Henry Cejudo down and finishing him with the TKO in the first round. Now you can see Demetrius Johnson consistent improvements after his fight. Firstly, against Ian McCall in 2012, it was a draw. Only a few months after that fight, a rematch was set with Ian McCall, where he beat him by unanimous decision. An improvement was seen there. Once again, in his second fight against Joseph Benavidez, where he won the first by split decision, the second victory came via knockout in the first round. His speed once again and precision was improved. His striking was improved. John Dodson, his second fight, he won by a decision unanimous, the first one and the second one alike, granted, but in the second fight, the combinations were just relentless. The speed was relentless. He was on a different level altogether. In the first fight, John Dodson had some answers. He wobbled them a couple times with shots. He caught his chin. In the second fight, it was a different story. John Dodson had no answers for Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson's head movement, speed, and combinations were just on another level. Nobody in the UFC has such technique. His jiu-jitsu is impeccable. It's impeccable. He can armbar you in the last second of the last round of the fight, as he did against Kyojo Yoriguchi back in 2015, man. He armbarred him in the last second of the fight. He is a complete mixed martial artist that has consistently improved his performance inside the octagon. That's it, guys. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more MMA related content.